Tonight, we are not just talking about a family. We are talking about political technology. Before you get comfortable, like the video and subscribe if you genuinely enjoy long-form historical breakdowns. And tell me where you're watching from, because the story we're about to discuss does not belong only to Britain, and wars across nearly every inhabited continent. Now dim the lights, settle in, and let's talk about why a crown still exists in the 21st century. Unlike World War I, this conflict reached directly into civilian life. Cities were bombed, homes were destroyed, food was rationed. The distinction between battlefield and society largely disappeared. War became a shared national experience, and this created a new function for the monarchy. Not governance, psychological endurance. Prime Minister Winston Churchill directed strategy and military policy. He was a politician. His speeches inspired resistance, but they were still political acts. The monarchy operated differently. King George VI and Queen Elizabeth positioned themselves as participants in national hardship rather than observers of it. German bombing raids, known as the Blitz, targeted major British cities, especially London. It would have been strategically reasonable. The royal family refused. Buckingham Palace itself was bombed multiple times. After one bombing, Queen Elizabeth famously remarked that she was glad the palace had been hit because she could now look the East End in the face. The East End was a heavily bombed working-class district. This statement mattered symbolically. The monarchy was demonstrating shared vulnerability. The king and queen were not removed from danger. They were exposed to it. In modern states, legitimacy often depends less on authority and more on perceived solidarity. The royal family visiting bomb sites, hospitals, and shelters created an image of unity between ruler and population. King George's speeches during the war were also significant. Because of his stamina, public speaking was difficult and required intensive preparation. The king sounded human. Unlike polished politicians, his pauses and effort communicated sincerity. The king did not direct military operations. He provided reassurance that the state still existed. That continuity remained intact even while bombs fell nightly. People need a symbol that tomorrow will resemble today, enough to be survivable. The monarchy became that symbol. In 1945, she joined the Auxiliary Territorial Service and trained as a mechanic and driver. This had a profound symbolic effect. The monarchy was aligning itself with national service. It communicated that even the highest status individuals shared collective obligation. This reinforced a narrative. Monarchy was not merely inherited privilege, but national duty. War requires more than weapons. It requires morale, which is a society's willingness to endure hardship for an uncertain future. Consider the psychological environment of the Blitz. Civilians slept in subway stations to avoid bombing. In that environment, stability becomes a resource as valuable as food. These actions reassured citizens that the state had not collapsed. Importantly, the monarchy did not replace government authority. It complemented it. This division of labor strengthened both institutions. Britain was not only fighting a war, it was maintaining an empire and alliances. The king meeting foreign leaders and appearing with troops projected unity to allies and resilience to enemies. Propaganda films circulated internationally, showing royal visits to bombed areas and military units. The image presented was clear. Britain remained intact. In international politics, symbolism can influence strategy. A nation perceived as stable appears less likely to collapse, which encourages allies to support it and discourages enemies from expecting quick victory. Thus, the monarchy contributed indirectly to diplomatic strength. By 1945, the monarchy was more popular than at any point in recent history. This popularity did not come from legislation or policy. It came from association with survival. The empire was beginning to dissolve. India would soon gain independence. Colonial nationalism was rising across Asia and Africa. The monarchy would need to adapt again, shifting from imperial authority to something else entirely. The crown could no longer be the symbol of empire, and that transformation would occur under a new monarch.